The White House goes on offense. The president goes to France, and senators struggle towards a potential deal on health care tonight. Good evening, everybody. I'm Martha McCallum, and this is The Story. The president on the ground in Paris, in meetings with President Macron, had this to say about the meeting that is being called a smoking gun.
He took a meeting with a Russian lawyer, not a government lawyer, but a Russian lawyer. It was a short meeting. I think from a practical standpoint, most people would have taken that meeting. It's called opposition research or even research into your opponent. That's very standard in politics. But nothing happened from the meeting. Zero happened from the meeting. And honestly, I think the press made a very big deal over something that really a lot of people would do. Now, the lawyer that went to the meeting, I see that she was in the halls of Congress also. Somebody said that her visa or her passport to come into the country was approved by Attorney General Lynch. Yeah.
And here is former campaign manager Corey Lewandowski a short time ago making this argument on the Russia question. Watch.
If anybody, and I mean anybody, did something with a foreign government that materially impacted the outcome of this election, that person should be held accountable to the full extent of the law. I spent 18 months next to the president's side, 7 days a week, 18 hours a day. Never, and I mean never, did he raise the issue of Russia to me.
Chief Intelligence Correspondent Catherine Herridge live on This Story for us in Washington tonight. Catherine?
Well, thanks, Martha. These court records and transcripts reviewed by Fox News show the Russian lawyer at the center of the Donald Trump Jr. emails was granted a special immigration status by the Obama administration Justice Department, as first reported by the Hill newspaper. Natalia Veselnitskaya was the lawyer for a Russian businessman accused by federal prosecutors of laundering hundreds of millions of dollars in real estate transactions. The government bypassed the normal visa process and gave a type of extraordinary permission to enter the country called immigration parole, the documents state. That's a discretionary act that the statute allows the Attorney General to do in extraordinary circumstances. The Attorney General at the time of the court filings, 2015 and 2016, was Loretta Lynch. Democrats said tonight Republicans may be overplaying the connection.
Clearly, someone in the United States government had to make an exception. And what we've learned, or what has been reported, is that that was granted in order to allow her to come to the United States to defend her client in a major international trial in New York. That seems like a reasonable use of the parole option.
After the June 2016 Trump Tower meeting with Donald Trump Jr., Jared Kushner, and then campaign chairman Paul Manafort, Veselnitskaya heads to Capitol Hill, where she can be seen in the background of this video at House Foreign Affairs Committee. It's not clear from our reporting tonight what her immigration or parole status was at that time, Martha.
Catherine, thank you very much. Catherine Herridge in Washington. So here with more, Mark Thiessen, former chief speechwriter for President George W. Bush, and Juan Williams, co-host of The Five. Both, of course, are Fox News contributors. Gentlemen, welcome. Good to have both of you with us tonight. Mark, let me start with you in D.C. Yeah. There's now all of this speculation about this woman and what her connection is. She apparently worked with Fusion GPS on some of the investigation into this election-related matters as well. It's possible that perhaps somebody wanted her to be in this country. You can go down that road if you want to, and no doubt people are going to be investigating all sides of this.
No, absolutely. And look, I mean, Trump was factually correct when he said that Donald Trump Jr. met with a Russian lawyer who was not a government lawyer. That is a fact. However, it's deeply misleading because Donald Trump Jr. thought he was meeting with a Russian government lawyer. If you read the emails that he was sent, according to the emails, he was asked to meet with, quote, a Russian government attorney who was flying over from Moscow for this purpose on Thursday, and that the Crown Prosecutor of Russia had offered to provide the Trump campaign with official documents that was part of Russia's government support for Mr. Trump. And he said, I love it. He took the meeting. Now, is that a crime? No, it's not a crime, according to most lawyers that I've talked to or read and respect on this subject. But it is collusion. Yeah. And the Trump campaign has been saying for a long time there was no collusion. We now know that Donald Trump and Paul Manafort... It's an attempt
at collusion, but it doesn't prove that any collusion actually happened.
He was. This is what we know, okay? That Donald Trump Jr., Paul Manafort, and Jared Kushner were aware that the Russian government wanted to help the Trump campaign and hurt Hillary Clinton, and that they were willing to accept that help. That is a problem. It's not a smoking gun. There's not a crime here yet, but it is. It's no longer. You can't just dismiss this as a witch hunt. This is serious stuff.
Juan.
I think Mark's right. It's interesting to me to hear the president talk about this, because when they bring up the whole business of, oh, the Obama administration let this lawyer in the country, it's not our fault. That's not the issue. The issue is that Donald Trump Jr. decided to take a meeting with this woman based on the emails as just described to you by Mark that indicated he was meeting with a lawyer.
The question that they're getting at is, was he set up? Okay. Now, I don't think anyone disputes the premise of what Mark just said, which is that it was really unwise to take this meeting, and it looks terrible. Right. I don't think anybody disagrees with that part of the equation. The part that's raised by why she was allowed under this statute to stay in the country, that was in January when she was working on that case. She's still here in June, according to this timeline.
Correct.
She's also apparently involved in this Fusion GPS company. They had some relationship. They're the people who were trying to do the dossier on Trump through Christopher Steele. So, you can kind of let your Jean Le Carre plot, go along here with this and ask yourself, what is this woman up to? Is she setting him up? Is she trying to get him in the room to do it like some sort of sting operation?
Well, wait a second. I mean, it's not that you would think that it was Fusion and the Steele report on Trump and Russia and all that. It's more that we know that the Russians co-opt people.
Absolutely.
And that this is their strategy. This is the way they buy into people and the way they confide in people and get them to suddenly be offering information. That's the danger here.
Yeah, and there's a piece, Mark Thiessen, by David French, that says if you think ever that you're going to sort of play with the Russians and that you're going to come out of it with what you want and that they're not going to get something too, you're sadly mistaken.
Yeah.
No, David French is exactly right on that, and I agree with Juan that this could very well have been some sort of a setup to get some sort of to compromise Donald Trump Jr. or some members of the campaign
that he fell for.
But that he fell for. Now, look, there's a lot of people running around saying this is treason, that this is impeachable. We're way, they're getting way ahead of their skis on this stuff. The names on those emails is Donald Trump Jr., not Donald Trump. And there's no evidence yet that Donald Trump knew about this, that he was in the meeting. But we also don't know whether he knew about this. We don't know what came of this later or whether there was more discussion of it. We don't know if Donald Trump Jr. told his father that there's a Russian prosecutor coming over to give us information about Hillary Clinton. We just don't know any of that. So this is why Bob Mueller has to get to the bottom of this and get around the speculation.
I would just say that that Donald Trump Jr., to be fair to him, said to Sean Hannity earlier this week that he didn't tell his dad. The problem is it's hard to believe that Paul Manafort and Jared Kushner, the son-in-law, his brother-in-law, are in this meeting, and somehow nobody mentions to the principal, oh, yeah, we had a meeting with a Russian lawyer who said she had information from the Crown prosecutor in Russia. That seems alarming to me. I don't know, but the fact that the campaign manager's in the meeting suggested it was a high-level meeting.
Seems odd. All right. More to come. Stay tuned. Thank you, guys. Good to see you both. So